Hey there, I'm Richy, and today we're going to be taking a look at the new Oni's Oath Vault X Edition glass mousepad from Tenta-X. This pad has an amazing design in my opinion, and it's sporting a very fast surface. So if that's what you're looking for, you'll want to stick around, because I'm also going to be comparing it to some of the competition and letting you know the differences between them. Anyways, let's get to it. I did want to preface this with the fact that I bought this pad and the quality and control is what you should expect to experience when you think about purchasing the Oni's Oath. When picking up this pad, there are two versions that you can purchase. The standard version that comes with just the pad and also the essentials, and then the Vault X version that I bought for myself, and it comes with everything that I show in this video today. The packaging for the Oni's Oath Vault X edition showed up at my door with the plastic just a little bit torn, but the box was in still good condition. Opening it up, you can slide the Vault X out with ease. And then unzipping the Vault X all around, you are greeted with a pack of Unusual Way Magic Ice skates and a limited edition deck of cards that are designed to match the theme of the pad. Now looking at the design on the cards, it is really nice, and also the feel of the cards is very premium and durable. So I'd say they are pretty dang good. Moving on and undoing the safety straps in the case and taking the layer of foam off, you will see a bunch of stickers from Tenta-X, a Tenta-X plus Illmaster card, and a cleaning cloth that has the Tenta-X brand logo in the corner, and last but definitely not least, the Oni's Oath itself. Before getting to the pad itself, I wanted to say a few things about the carry case, because it definitely does deserve some praise. It's made with a hard carbon fiber PU outer shell and high density EVA foam on the inside. You have no need to worry if you're planning to travel with this pad. The Vault X can safely carry 3 glass pads for those LAN sessions, but those pads have to be 490 by 420 millimeters like the Oni's Oath, unless you want to get a little bit messy and make a little space in the case for yourself. But now, getting to the pad itself. The dimensions are coming in at 490 by 420 millimeters, and for me, that is definitely enough space. And it's also sitting at a height of 2.5 millimeters. This, plus its nice rounded edges, really make it feel like part of the desk, actually. For the material of the pad, it's made from a tempered glass surface, and its surface is actually etched into it. This texture on the pad really makes it feel smooth to the touch, and unlike other pads, it feels kinda cool to the touch. Not really soft, it's hard to explain, but if you already have a glass pad, you might be able to get it. Looking past the surface at the design, it really does pop. The contrast in the darks and the lights is amazing, and this, in my opinion, is one of the best designs I have seen so far on a glass pad, and I'm very happy to see it on my desk. Looking a bit closer, the glass just barely blurs the line work of the art, and it gives it great detail from every angle. Taking you away from the amazing design, I'm going to show you what's keeping the pad on your desk, and it's its full silicone base. It has a micro hexagonal texture imprinted into it to maximize surface contact and airflow. Oddly though, in my experience, this base has been kinda iffy. It does slide a bit on my desk when my arm is sticking a lot, but it never moves enough to throw my game off. Now, after a very close inspection of the whole pad, front and back, I noticed nothing. No scratches, no chips, nothing, which is very surprising to me. I usually see something very small, but something nonetheless. This pad is still glass though, so be careful, but from the factory, my copy does seem to be perfect. I have to say, Tenta-X really did a great job here on packaging and safety on this product, and you really shouldn't have to worry about delivery of this pad or transporting it in the Vault X. Before getting to the comparisons, I have to share some of the side qualities of this pad that I have noticed. First is the skin stick. Since it has been crazy hot in Canada, it's been quite of a struggle on all my glass pads really, without a sleeve, but I can tell with this pad, skin stick might be a bit more of an issue than with something like the Beast, but a sleeve is by no means a requirement with this pad. And now for skatewear, the skatewear on this pad seems to be really good with it. I got the skates when I got the pad actually, and 2 weeks ago since I put them on, I'm not really feeling much skate wear or anything on it actually. And lastly is dust. When I got my pad 2 weeks ago, I didn't really have any issues with it. And the first thing I did with it was give it a clean with distilled water and a drop of Dawn dish soap, but up from then until now, I still haven't done anything substantial, just a wipe with my arm here and there. Hopefully any of the qualities that I mentioned helped you on deciding if you want the Oni's Oath or not, but now into some comparisons. Here I have the Beast, and ever since I first got the Oni's Oath, I wanted to compare it to the Beast. It's the fastest I have, and I want to pit it against what felt like a very good competitor. And it had me stoked to find out what the differences are. And with them next to each other, I can say that the Beast feels a bit more textured to the skin, and when using it, the Oni's feels a little bit more smooth, I'd say. And that works into the speed or the dynamic friction of it. On the Oni's Oath, it feels just a little bit faster, just a hair. And I think it's because it has that less friction provided by the surface, but it is still very, very minute. Static friction-wise, or stopping power, the Beast definitely has more. The texture that it has provides just a bit more control when pressing down, and I have to say the Oni's Oath really holds its speed even under pressure. Like, it is very consistent. Now, I can definitely say both of these pads are good at tracking aim, but in my case, I prefer the Oni just because of that consistent glide, even while under pressure. Well, more so than on the Beast. The Beast does take the cake though for a more versatile speed pad because it touches more bases and more aspects of aim. Last thing though, skin stickiness on the Beast definitely does seem to be a bit better in the sense that on the Beast I would use a sleeve after about 3 hours, but on the Oni's Oath I would have to use one after like 2 hours, or I would start noticing some stickiness after 2 hours. I wanted to compare the Oni's Oath to the SP004 because it's probably one of the more common glass mouse pads out there, and it's definitely a good reference point. So first off, the SP004 is a slower pad. Well, it's not much slower. In my testing, I can definitely feel that there is a slight speed difference. Static and stopping power wise, on the 004 it does seem a bit better, and in my thinking, I think it's because of the frosted feeling and that providing more feedback and friction when using it. But the Oni's Oath, it has more of a smooth feeling. Skin stick on both of these pads is very similar in my opinion, but on the Oni's Oath it seems just a bit better during my testing and play, and I would recommend a sleeve for both, but after a couple hours of play, but it is by no means a requirement for either of these pads. And also, the 004 is a bit thicker on the desk, and I did notice that in my testing, because I don't really push my pads right up against the lip of my desk. And now, my last comparison is the SP005. I wanted to compare these pads because there might be someone out there who wants the Oni's Oath, because it is unlimited drop right now, or they might want the SP005 for its next batch. Speed-wise, they feel very similar, but with them next to each other, I can tell that there is more speed on the Oni's Oath than there is on the 005. And to the skin, the 005 seems to have less texture, but more bite, I would say, versus the Oni's Oath, which has only slightly less texture to it and a little bit less bite as well. On the static friction end, the 005 definitely has more, especially when pressing down. And I've mentioned that the Oni doesn't really change in speed under pressure, but for the 005, that change in speed is quite noticeable when pressing down. And for the 005, I would say it's a good pad. Solid static and good dynamic friction, but for the Oni, I would say it's a great fast tracking pad. It definitely excels in tracking and maintaining a smooth glide, but on the static friction end, it has much less than the 005. And then last, skin stickiness. Skin stickiness wise, they are very similar, but if I had to say, the 005 has just a hair more of skin stickiness. And again, a sleeve with either of these pads is not required, but after a few hours of play, you may want one. And then now, just really quickly, I'm gonna drop a quick glide test for all the pads compared. Now I know you're probably wondering, how much does this all cost? And for the Vault X edition of the Oni's Oath, like the version that I have, it's gonna come out to around $179 Canadian. But if you're looking for just the pad and the essentials, it's gonna come out to around $123 Canadian. While it does seem like a lot for a mouse pad, because it is, everything that does come included, in my mind at least, somewhat softens the blow. The Vault X especially, because I can definitely see myself using it in the future and taking my pads if I want to go play with my friends. One thing though is that the Oni's Oath is a limited drop that is live now actually, so if you did want to go pick it up, go quick while the supplies last. I will leave a link in my description for you if you did want to find it. Now for my experience of the pad. In my 2 weeks of using the pad, I've only used the Fenrir ASIM, which has a PAW 3950 sensor on it, and skate-wise I'm using the unusual Waste Sports Magic Ice that came with the pad, but during use the tempered glass surface of the Oni's Oath really feels like you're using your mouse on an air hockey table. The speed that I can move the mouse is really only limited by my fear of something like this. To go with this though, the stopping power and the static friction are on the low end, and even when pressing down. For myself, I love that because it feels as close to raw input aim, and it helps me train errors out of my own aim. But the downside is, if TAC FPS games like Valorant or CS are your games, this pad might seem like it makes every game an uphill battle because of that very low static friction. Personally, one aspect of this pad that really did blow me away though was changes in direction. It's hard to explain, but on this pad, changes in direction feel very unrestricted and very close to one-to-one with my movements. To add, I felt on this pad, micro corrections and tracking have been a dream. It feels like there's no resistance to my movements and my skills are the only thing that's limiting me. All in all, Tenta-X did a really great job from the thickness to the design of their pad, and I truly do believe that the Oni's Oath can hold up to other glass mouse pads on the market right now. My final thoughts on the Oni's Oath based off the experience that I had with it from door to desk and everything in between, it was definitely better than most. And despite me getting the more expensive version with the case and the deck of cards and all that, it still came out to less expensive than some of the pads I already have. Tenta-X, in my opinion, really did a good job here on this pad. This is my first glass mouse pad from them, and it's actually my first mouse pad from them in general, and I'm surprised they aren't more well known. From my experience, I can definitely say that this pad can compare to the other glass mouse pads on the market right now, and it definitely has its own spot to fill in my time gaming. With the Oni's Oath though, it would be hard for me to recommend this as a first glass pad because it's definitely going to be hard to get used to if you come from cloth due to its low dynamic friction and its very low static friction, but it's definitely not impossible to get used to. I do have to say, making a pad like this is a big risk because more often than not, control is what the majority of people look for in a mouse pad. And Tenta-X is really sticking their neck out with a pad like this, but I really enjoy what they did, and I am really thankful for it. Well, that's everything on my script, but I just wanted to say, if you liked this video and would like to see more glass mousepad reviews or just niche gaming peripheral reviews in general, leaving a like would let me know that, and it would also be greatly appreciated. And if you wanted to see what else I review in the future, subscribing would help you stay up to date with that. And oh, speaking of, I just got the Phantom in by Tekkusai, so let me know if you'd like me to review that. Anywho, thank you for clicking on my video, thank you for sticking around, and ta-ta for now.